Here is our portal, which is our place of reading, teaching and learning. We decided to call it that instead of a library because we feel that it's more a portal for knowledge. There are books in here, but it's a way to access information in lots of other places. Come inside. One of the things we wanted to happen when people first walk into the portal was a bit of the wow factor, I suppose. See that there's a lot of space, there's a lot of resources, there's a lot of light, there's a lot of colour, and make it a friendly place that students want to be involved in. As you can see to start with, there's a few reasons we've got the shelves at this unusual angle. One of them is that our librarian that was designing it decided that linear was a bit boring, and also from where you're standing here you can actually see into the far depths of the room, which makes less little invisible corners, I suppose, and makes everything seem a lot more accessible. Just here, when students arrive during the wet season up here in the north, their shoes are definitely covered in red mud. So we got some students a few years ago to design a shoe rack. They had to measure how much mileage, I suppose, we need and how many shoes they've catered by having 3 whole classes in here at the same time, and that should fit there. As we walk down here, we've got a couple of breakaway rooms just here. We've named them after Australian authors, Gary Crew and Mem Fox. Teacher aides can work in these rooms with students. We book them. We've got a program called Book It, where they can log on, book a room and work with students. The Mem Fox room, we're actually using it as our home reader room at the moment. We've got some custom-made shelving there for all of the home readers. Students book this at lunchtime too to do some homework tasks and small group projects. Our print centre over here, we have our photocopier, the only colour printer in the school, and a black and white printer. And this is where, this printer's throughout the school, and as our print centre though, people come down here and we get some advice. If they have a problem with printing, this is where they come. Right beside here we have our hexapod for our computers. An advantage of what we've done is that we actually have underground power. There's a little flap that opens up, it's hidden in the middle there, so that there's nothing hanging from the ceiling, and if we wish to move this somewhere else we can close this one and open another power panel in the floor. Over here we've designed what's called the laptop lounge. We have a laptop program at our school in years 5, 6, 7, and a lot of students come here in lunch times. They can sit here, charge their laptops while they're working on them. There's data outlets too in case if there's a lot of students here and it's a strain on the wireless. That alleviates that problem. Through here we have a separate section to the library. It's called Cafe Connect. Inside we have our kitchen area, and people once again can book this for meetings.
So this is an area for teachers?
That's right. What's another advantage of this is that this end of the portal can be locked off, and sometimes members of the community book it out for meetings, and there's no access to the rest of the portal, so our resources are protected. We have a disabled toilet in the corner, which was part of all the new builds. That was a necessity. Through this way. These obviously are sliding walls, so one large space or 2 learning areas. Another advantage is the locking boards, so if you're having small groups on the carpet you can put things up there. Velcro works on them too.
The whiteboard's a great idea as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. This is our meeting room. We have a portable interactive whiteboard there that people can book. This is usually where teacher planning happens. We have, for each new C2C unit, we have a half a day to familiarise ourselves, and it's driven by our deputy. That happens in this room. And we're back in the main part of the portal again now. There's a lot of book week displays up at the moment. We're still there from each class made a display for one of the texts, and then in their own different ways interpreted how to put things together. Another thing that we're aware of was access to shelving. Obviously the height needed to be factored in. One thing that I really enjoyed was the buckets over here for the junior kitchen. They're leaning forwards, they're a lot easier for the children to get into. We had to make sure that the depth was quite far. The opening at the front was a bit misleading. If the depth wasn't far enough, then it really didn't hold many books. And all the junior students are able to access that library. When classes come in for library time, a teacher will read a story, start their library time here, discuss what the other kids are researching, prepare them for where they're moving on to next. And it's also quite a fun place at lunchtime. The kids play schools and they're the teacher reads for the students.
That's priceless.
We have another breakaway room just here. We call it the brain gym. It's during school time obviously used for lessons. At lunchtime it has board games, cranium, tantrics, all of those. So students are playing activities, doing jigsaw puzzles. One thing that we really like about obviously having a lot of glass, there's no hidey holes in here, so we can always see what the students are up to. I think that's important too with the hexapod, with the computers. We're making sure that no one's trying to go anywhere inappropriate. Where the laptop lounge is, just walking along, having a look, we can see all of their screens, so that's important. Our circulation desk here, once again, it's mobile if we wish. There's underground power, and so we can move that to anywhere else. There was a bit of editing here. Let's see which one of these is not better.
Under the shelf, Barbara.
This one down there?
Oh, there it is,
Yes.
yeah. So just there, that panel that has a shelf on it at the moment opens up. There's 4 PowerPoints down there, and there's also 4 data points in there as well. That's why the circulation desk or the hexapod can be moved to any of these, so that it keeps things a lot more mobile in here. In the corner over here, this is our teacher reference section. The idea of this room was to have a quiet place for planning. This way, if teachers in their non-contact time or lunch times want to come in and find some resources, it's not in the main library, so it's not being interrupted. It's obviously quieter when the door's closed, and there's space to sit down to work out what you need, what you don't need. What we've done to make things a lot more accessible, we have lots of learning activities hanging up on the trolleys here. They like maths games, activities like that. Down here we've got all of our big books on some big shelves. And once again, we needed something that was easy to access. And this way, most titles, I think there's only, the most will probably be about 3 or 4 deep, so it's easy to find. Down the back, we're trying to find a way to store all of our PM benchmark or our PM readers, and normal sliding shelving was going to take up a lot more space, so we have a fixed back shelf, and then all of the front shelf can move.
It's actually a very clever practice. You know, normally they're the other way around, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
sort
and
of
you can only
wiring
get
and
one
stuff.
open at a time. So
Yeah.
this way we have, including the one at the back, there's 6 shelves open at a time, and that continues all the way along. So, and it only takes a metre of space, so it was...
Oh, that's ingenious.
Our librarian, once again, who was designing, put a lot of thought into this. And once again, you can see the diagonal angle of the shelves, so that you can see out to the main library if you need to. A feature that we added was the water tap inside the room. It was one way of the students not having to walk a fair way. The closest one is, I think, about 50 metres down that direction, so it's a long way away. If the students wanted to have a drink while they're in their library lesson, they're not wasting time out of the room. This room here we have as our teacher aids room for lots of preparation, contacting books, preparing books, ordering books. A huge advantage of this room being here is obviously the glass again. so that when the teacher aides are in here working, they're still aware of who's coming and going. If anyone needs help, they're seen straight away. One of the things that was quite interesting was the contact shelf here. When the first design came back, it was based on other libraries that had been designed, but it wasn't actually big enough for a big roll of contact. So our librarian realised and got that changed so that it would fit, otherwise it would be a dust collecting space. Be very inappropriate. Over there we have our one of our servers that looks after ClickView, our in-house DVD collection, and it's also hooked up to Austar, and a normal television, so anything that we need to tape documentaries, we can record it there and they can be accessed in every classroom. Over here we have one of our lockable trolleys for school laptops. Like I said before, we have our school laptop program. The families that don't buy their own laptop, we have a bank of laptops that students share in their classroom, one between 3. Every afternoon they're brought back down here and locked away. They're padlocked in, and it's a charging trolley, and it cycles through, so none of them overcharge. There's another one in a lockable storeroom in another building as well. Quite a few of those. This area here is our ICT Assist. Another interesting sign there. We have a teacher aide who works here for a couple of hours every day. He looks after login problems, any hardware problems that we can fix here at school, any software issues that don't have to be sent away for warranties. And you can see it gets quite busy in here. We also store all of our licensing agreements up here as well, our manuals for all our data projectors, computers, scanners, interactive whiteboards, and our ink over here, printer ink, which is a big commodity. Our data room has to be air conditioned, obviously because the data cabinet gets quite warm. And this is our main lockable secure storeroom. It has the power board in there as well. And it houses our other servers. We have 4 servers here and it houses 3 of them. Here is our recording studio. When it's in use, we have the recording in progress light so that nobody interrupts in case somebody's filming. At the back we have a green wall. It allows for us to use green screen technology. We're an Apple school and green screen's part of iMovie. A few year levels had projects that they do with the green screen. We have a couple of computer clubs here too that run at lunchtimes during the week, and one of their projects was a green screen movie.
Can you give us an example of one of those?
Yeah, one group of boys did a superhero movie and they invented their own superhero characters, and one of the battle scenes, there's always battles with boys, one of the battle scenes they wanted to be on another planet, so they designed the planet using HitPix and other image software, and then they imported that in the background, so it was the background to their fight scene, and it was pretty spectacular. We had a few girls who took photos of their toys and made up a story that they had been shrunk and sent into Toyland, so they were this size to their teddy bears being this size, so it was very clever, very clever. And the last room is my office. Once again, a nice bright environment. There's some glass to see outside, glass to see into the main part of the library as well. And one thing that was necessary that some people have asked about was the amount of power and data over here. The reason for that is sometimes I might be rebuilding some computers in here too if our tech's not here. Also we have, when a family buys into our laptop program, I go through the acceptable use policy and all of our firewalls here at school, our policy softwares, and software policy I mean. And so we often need to charge them because we're here for a while going through all of that.
I think you'd never have too many PowerPoints.
No, that's right. It's like your house, isn't it? And one final area that I forgot to mention before. Outside, we've actually made a learning environment for days like today, where the students and classes can once again book this. You can see that the benches are set up as little tables. and students can be working on research, can set up their laptops out here, can be reading out here, and often teacher aides will bring groups out here for reading groups. It's a nice sunny place, safe off, keeps them protected. Yes, that's right. Well, this is no, it doesn't. We can still have students on It's great. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed the tour.